Have you ever been shamed by what you eat, or told if you just eat this or don't eat that, then you're going to be cured? In this video, I'm not going to be shaming you, and I'm not going to be telling you what to eat and what not to eat. I just want to share some powerful information because I believe information is power. This isn't about a cure and none of that. It's just me sharing information. The first time I ever had to think about what I was eating or change my diet was when I was pregnant because I had gestational diabetes. I had to check my blood sugar like 4 times a day. I quickly noticed how my body would react in a positive or negative way based on what I was eating. Granted, I had to follow a very strict high protein diet and low carb. I had to go see a nutritionist for that. And so I knew kind of what was off limits, but occasionally, I would try something out and then 2 hours later I would check my blood sugar and it would skyrocket. I kind of knew just in real time how my body was reacting to certain foods. And so it's not necessarily to say that one is bad or one is good. It's just that how does my body react and how does it feel? Even though the diabetes went away, I can still tell how my body reacts to things, even if I'm not checking it with a glucometer, which I still have. But I can just tell how I feel, if I feel good or if I feel bad. And even to this day, if I eat a very high protein diet, a lot of fruits and vegetables, I feel so much better than if I eat a lot of carbs. But that's just me. I know there are some doctors that will give you a glucometer that is it's constantly monitoring your blood sugar. I think that is so amazing. If you've never actually done that and you're struggling with maybe your A1C's coming back a little high, check that out and ask your doctor about it. I think that that's a really fantastic tool. A couple of months ago, I read this book called Magic Pill by Johann Hari, and I could not put the book down. It was so amazing. The information is just phenomenal. So he's very thorough and very informative and presents both sides of the issue when it comes to Ozempic. His research was just phenomenal. And one piece that I found very fascinating was about the Japanese diet. In Japanese culture, they have such a low rate of obesity. It's shocking when you look at it compared to the United States. It begs to question, why is the obesity rate so low in Japan? And what is it that they eat? And so what he found was that inside of their school systems, in the elementary schools, they use lunchtime as almost like another class, and they teach the students exactly what is a carbohydrate and what is a protein and why do you need these vitamins and minerals for your body. How does it nourish you? And so they teach this at a very young age about the benefits of a healthy diet. They eat a lot of seafood, they eat a lot of veggies, and they also pickle their veggies. So then I found this lady online, and her YouTube channel is called Miwa's Japanese Cooking. On her channel, she shares a lot of her authentic Japanese recipes and how she makes them. And I found it just so fascinating, and I just love her, and I love her personality. I love the recipes that she shares and the meaning behind the recipes and why does she make them. I love her channel. Please go check it out. So this is just part of my personality, is I do not like extremes on one side or the other. Personally, I am not going to entertain or participate in any type of extreme diets. Like, I'm not going to eat all meat or all vegetables. I'm just not going to do that. I think a well-balanced diet is super important. So I'm going to share a little bit about the way I eat or what I eat, my philosophy behind eating, and just share a little bit of information. You don't have to do this. It's just what I do. I'm not a dietitian. I'm not a specialist. Especially after listening to Johann Hari's book and studying Japanese cooking, just wanted to share with you some of the recipes that I eat and why I eat them. My primary philosophy is to eat whole foods. And what I mean by that is that it actually looks like a food. This is a whole food. It's not processed, it is totally raw, and I try to buy organic as possible. Another option that I eat a lot of is strawberries. A lot of times people will just say random stuff like, eat a clean diet. Well, what does clean mean? I don't know. They don't go into details. So here I am. I'm going to tell you details. Whole foods, real strawberries. These are not processed, This is not processed into like a fruit bar. This is real strawberries. So I try to eat as whole as possible. I don't mean I eat only raw vegetables. I just mean whole foods, okay? What I love to dip the carrots in is hummus. This particular one is an organic hummus, and I've tried a lot of different brands and varieties and flavors, but this particular one at Whole Foods is my absolute favorite. I just love the way it tastes, and I love how it has organic ingredients in it. Although a lot of people freak out when they hear Whole Foods, they're like, oh my goodness, whole paycheck, it's very expensive. But I don't do all of my shopping at Whole Foods. I don't shop on every single aisle in their store, and I'm not recommending that you do that either. They have a high standard of what ingredients they will allow in their store and what they will not. And so I trust that, and I really appreciate that level of quality in their foods. And another thing that I really love about Whole Foods is their seafood is amazing. Seafood should not be stinky. So I get my salmon and my shrimp at Whole Foods, and I love their seafood. Another thing that I buy from Whole Foods is tofu. And if you've never cooked with tofu before, it can probably seem a little intimidating. And again, I'm not recommending that you have to be vegan or have to be a vegetarian. It's just that I think it's so amazing to have variety in your diet, and so I absolutely love tofu. And the great thing about tofu is you can flavor it however you wish, and tofu in the air fryer is fantastic, as well as salmon. Salmon in the air fryer cooks in like 8 minutes, and all you have to do is just season the top of the salmon, stick it in the air fryer, and just push a button. And especially on days when I'm not feeling well, that is fantastic. Another piece of equipment I use a lot is my Instant Pot, and I make rice in the Instant Pot. I just throw in 1 cup of rice, 2 cups of water, some garlic powder, press start, and I walk away. And it's just so fantastic. As far as Japanese cooking, I cook a lot with miso. Miso is a fermented food, and it's very, very good for your gut health. And I am not an expert on gut health, and I'm not like promoting that as like, number one, you got to worry about gut health. All I know is that in Japanese cooking, they use miso a lot, and miso soup is so amazing, and it's so easy to make. I love miso. Another thing that I put in the miso soup a lot is Napa cabbage. And again, it is so easy. This is how I make my miso soup. I start off with one of these packets, and this is a dashi packet, and I got this on Amazon. This basically flavors your water just like you were making tea. You don't need to like rapidly boil your water, but just get your water hot and then let it flavor the water. And then after I put the dashi packet in, I take it out, and then I add whatever veggie I want. Sometimes I add Napa cabbage, I will add some carrots, sometimes I'll cut these up and put it in, and I always add garlic. Then you put in a little bit of miso, but you have to turn the heat off because you do not want to boil the miso once it goes in, and it's like a paste. So the way this works is you want to leave this little paper on top because it protects it, but the miso is a paste. It looks like that. So you just put a little bit into a ladle and then just stir it into the soup. And you really don't have to flavor it much after that. Maybe you could add a little bit of soy sauce if you wanted to. But it is a quick, super easy, and cheap recipe. I love soups because it can, just through a meal, you can hydrate yourself. And I also love to eat chicken and sometimes beef. I don't eat a lot of beef. I don't eat hardly any pork, like none, hardly. I mean, I will if I have to, but pork's not really my favorite. I'm just talking about my preferences. It's not necessarily like this is good, this is bad. It's just that's my preference. So I love to eat seafood and chicken, tofu, veggies, and fruit, and basically rice. That's my philosophy, is getting away from ultra processed food. Like if you think a chicken nugget, that is an ultra processed food. Like they had to process that in so many different ways. And you can get organic chicken nuggets even at Whole Foods. But for me, I look at that and I'm like, that's a processed food, and I would rather just cut up real chicken and then stir fry it and put some real garlic in it. It's amazing. It's so much better. I look at this food and I think I'm fueling my body and I'm giving it what it needs. And to me, Whole Foods are better for my body, and I'm not doing this to cure myself. I just look at it as I'm doing what I can and making the decisions that I can to fuel my body with what it needs, because it's kind of like the philosophy of what goes in comes out, and what goes into my body is what's going to fuel it to do the best it can and to be as optimal as it can. And in the type of situation that I'm in, I mean, my immune system is so confused and so messed up. So I'm just like, all right, I'll just feed it what I can. Another thing I wanted to talk about in this video is if you've ever been shamed by someone for what you're eating, or they just tell you, hey, if you just eat this or you stop eating that, then your condition will just go away. I just think that's so crazy, because if that were actually true, then diseases like rheumatoid arthritis, like what I have, would be completely extinct. So it can't only be linked to food. But if you've ever been in a position where you've been shamed by someone who has a very strict diet for themselves, I just want to give you this definition, just for food for thought. It is called orthorexia, and it is a proposed eating disorder characterized by an excessive preoccupation with eating healthy food. It's almost to the point where the sufferer systematically avoids specific foods in the belief that they are harmful. It's important that we don't give so much weight to food to the point where it becomes an obsession, or that becomes to the point where you think that, well, if I eat this food, then it's going to harm me. But I just wanted to bring this to your awareness, because if you were not aware that this type of eating disorder exists, you could actually be conversing with someone who has orthorexia, and they're basically trying to push off their own beliefs that are actually harmful to them onto you. And then, what is the word? They're trying to project it onto you, like, well, if you just do what I do, then you're going to be healed. And personally, to me, it just is so upsetting, because they are not walking in my shoes, and it's so easy for them to make those judgments from afar when they don't have a serious disease like I do. They just assume that all I have is arthritis. And that is not what rheumatoid arthritis is. It is not just arthritis. Yeah, again, I just wanted to share this with you in case someone is projecting this upon you, and just understand that it could be their issue. It's just good for you to know on your own that, hey, I'm doing the best I can with what I can do, and I'm not going to allow someone else to project some type of harmful belief or patterns of belief onto me. You know, when you think about it, what is the purpose of eating? It's to fuel our body, give it energy, and it's also to give our body what it needs, like minerals, vitamins, things like that. And my belief is, if you eat a well-balanced diet that has a lot of variety in it, a lot of different color in it, then you don't have to rely so much on vitamins and supplements and things like that, because you're getting it naturally through your food. I hope that information was helpful for you today, and to give you some solace and comfort to know that you're not alone if other people have tried to shame you for your diet, or tell you what to eat or not to eat, things like that. It's just not cool. So if you haven't already, please click subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye, friends.